This podcast was produced on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation.
Welcome to Australia.
Aussie.
This is kind of tragic.
Someone who is such a connoisseur of reality television.
The content is hideous.
So sorry about this. Oh my God.
This is The Cringe is Real, a reality TV recap podcast that probes the notion of the Australian culture cringe. I'm Sam Cremian, and whilst Las Vegas may have hosted BravoCon, Kate's Killcare getaway still takes the cake for messiest weekend. Animal feces included. I'm back again to unpack this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Sydney, which comes out Tuesdays on Binge. My guest this week needs no introduction to you lot. It's the delightfully devilish Dan Morrison. Dan dominates the Australian Real Housewives memosphere with his hilarious Insta account and podcast, Gasbagging. I did Dan a solid last week for filling in for his regular co-host, and this week he's returning the favour. What a community us housewives homos are. Dan Morrison, hello. Welcome to The Cringe is Real.
It's a pleasure to be here, Sam. Thank you for letting me fill in last minute for a COVID patient.
What has got you cringing this week?
This week, well, it was something that happened last week that it's like sitting top of mind was Dorit and PK on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and their Pretty Woman date that they acted out. That's not sat well with me. That was tough stuff to hear and see.
It was Berlin, babe. Babe, it's Berlin. It's Berlin, babe. You know, Berlin.
I don't want to see couples on Real Housewives shows go on dates anymore. Like I have no interest in it. Everything's just so forced. Like Karen Huger in the bathtub like years ago, that stuck with me for years. Yeah. Same thing, Tamara and Eddie in the bathtub years ago. It's like semi-iconic. But then, and like Cherry in Melbourne, you know, sitting in Fed Square watching her like slideshow. Like I don't want to see any of that.
That is blast from the past. I've forgotten her name and everything. I can't even remember what she looked like.
Her biggest storyline was when she was hanging her clothes backwards. Like she had the closet organizer come in and helped her to like put her clothes backwards to see that she wasn't using them. Like that was like, you know, the pinnacle of her contribution on season 5.
That's right. Did you watch the first episode of Potomac?
I did. I love those women.
We were watching it just before and I was like, fuck Beverly Hills. This is the business. Like real emotion, real people, storylines that I'm actually interested in. And just the directness they have with each other is so refreshing. Like when Robin walks in and Giselle's like, hey, so just so you know, we've all been talking about you.
Yeah.
And your husband. That I was like, thank fuck, I've been missing these women.
And they also just can like pepper in the comedy like so easily. Like even them just entering Giselle's house and none of them could get down that walkway and they're trying to like, you know, back up like down the like rocky path and stuff. And like, you need stairs. Like it's just... Yeah.
Well, at least it wasn't an escalator and Bryn wasn't there with some Louboutins because, you know, that would have been a disaster.
Do you think that was staged? Because a lot of people think that. I think it was too perfect to be staged. Like it's just, yeah.
Maybe. I'm a skeptic. I don't believe anything.
Not a thing
that happens.
Nothing in the world.
I don't believe anything at any point. No, it could have been real. It was cute. Let's go to Sydney though. This week we have some very strong raspberry gin. Yep. We have a meat-free barbecue, a snake that can go more than once, and a big old wuss.
That reptile park, not for me. That was not a conservation park. Can we just say that as well? Like,
it was Australia Zoo. Yeah. It was the Aldi Irwins, as I've referred to them multiple times in my notes. They even looked off-brand.
But I appreciate it for what it delivered, though, between the women and, well, mainly Victoria. And also, I just need to say at the top of this, I've not been the biggest Victoria fan from the beginning. I know you are a bit of a Victoria fan, but I have.
Well, I mean, fan as in like, you know, we're probably not gonna, like if we actually were to hang out, I don't think we'd have a whole lot to talk about. But I think she's probably the most eccentric and therefore entertaining character. And she's actually being herself, which I really appreciate. And I can see that. So That's why she gets my
Yeah, I'm
interest.
finally coming around to that. Like, I kind of found the whole like confessional stuff in the first few episodes a bit painful. Like everything was so like felt so like put on, and then she wasn't really doing much in this.
But that's
Yes,
her. I think that's her
yes,
for
and but no,
real.
I finally got to that. I'm like, oh, she's just a bit like that's her personality, and when she's in a scene, she has these like really bad takes on stuff. I'm like, oh no, you believe this 100% with your chest. And I'm like, that's great. Actually, that's what I want from a housewife, someone who's going to stand by every single word they're saying. And I'm like, great. So I've turned a corner with her now. I'm appreciating Victoria on the show.
The episode starts with a little previously on. We get all of the Chrissy's not coming. Is she coming? Is she not coming? We get Griffo with the champagne. Terry wants good times and no drama. Just want a good time. And then Caroline telling everyone that they are rolling shit in glitter, which sums up last episode perfectly, I think.
I like the little hint we got from Terry during that dinner. Like that was the first time like we saw her kind of like activated a bit, and I was just like, I want to see more.
Yeah, Terry bitch mode activated. I sometimes I skip the tagline, sometimes I don't, and today I didn't. And I have to apologize publicly because when I first heard these, I thought they were so rubbish. But now that Beverly Hills has started, these are actually exceptional. Like, at least
no, with the American ones, I think it was even maybe when the Potomac ones came out, and they were like, I saw some comments on them being like, "Wow, the writer's strike is real." Like, it's just like there's just horrific ones on the US side. So I'm proud that our girls have actually got semi-decent ones.
The gays that they pay to come up with these. Yeah. Well, no, the Beverly Hills ones this year are truly tragic, and some of them don't even make sense. Like Crystal claiming to be both young and wise, but it just kind of sounds like she's
calling herself dumb. That's what I think. Like
dumb and or old, but definitely not
what she wanted.
Anyway, I've covered this a lot in the last few episodes, but there's some exceptional royalty-free music being used, and this week was like the upper echelon. Like we hit some new lyrical heights this week.
You've got the ooh like an animal, like an animal. Is that the
yes, like an animal. Well, the first one was get up, light up the sky.
It's great. It's very Selling Sunset-esque. Like it's just everything is so on the nose, and it's like the production assistant has sat in there with like royalty-free music and typed in the keywords about what's going on in the scene and picked the first option that was there and thrown it in, and I love them for it.
They're in the car. We sort of pick up where we left off from last week. They're all in the car on their way to Ozark, as I'm going to continue to call it.
Yeah. The Netflix show.
Yeah. And Caroline is kind of, because I keep forgetting that like Caroline and Kate have kind of come into this show as a little bit of a package deal. Like they've got each other's backs a little bit, but she does give a bit of insight to the rest of the girls. And she says, oh, look, like anyone with a very passionate kind of stance on something, like Kate's passion for animals, sometimes she needs to streamline her delivery. Do you think that was a fair comment?
I think it was a fair comment because they cut beautifully straight back into the car with Kate coming at Victoria. So I think that was like the perfect segue to like come into her basically, abusing Victoria to an extent.
Yeah, it's like Caroline's trying to be nice, like, oh, yeah. She just needs to work on delivery. And then it cuts here straight to, you can't go to a conservation place in a fur jacket. And Victoria going, well, I have. So what do I do? Which was my favorite. She's like, you can't do that. And she goes, well, here I am. I'm Victoria Montano. I am winter fashion. It's what I do. This whole spiel where she referred to herself in the third person and her name is synonymous with winter fashion, I was cackling.
Oh, it's great. Here I am being glamorous in my own Victoria Montano way. Like the third person kills me. And this was like my turning point going, oh, this is like she is literally looking outside of herself at her going, I'm a style icon.
Then Kate kind of refers to her as Cruella de Vil, which I was like, oh, surprised it took her that long for this one to drop because, we seem to be doing a lot of name calling. So Cruella de Vil gets thrown out It might even resurface again later on.
Mm.
Terry, in true Switzerland fashion, finds the middle ground. She's really trying hard to kind of mediate, and it's just like, Terry, girl, like,
Her and Victoria are meant to be like friends from years ago, though, so it is a bit of a strange like move for her to be like, you know, backing Kate this hard. And as like, I'm not going to jump ahead to it, but the hypocrisy of like most of these women about this particular subject is like,
oh,
they don't have a leg to stand
we'll
on. So
get
it's
to
like,
the goose down.
yes, but it's interesting that Terry's, you know, chosen this like Kate Adams hill to die on with her. Like she could have just kind of, you know, actually stayed Switzerland and just like kept quiet, but she, for some reason, is going to, you know, back up the Miss Doctor in the car.
So we get the Move Like an Animal song, which was, someone at production was, very happy with themselves when they found that one and spliced it in. Like, see what I did there?
Yeah.
And we meet the LD Irwins, one of which is called Ranger Haley.
Stunning woman.
Not to be confused with Ranger Stacey. I think they were expecting a little bit more exciting kind of screen grabs for the trailer from this bit. But I just thought it was such a flop, the whole scene.
Oh, it was. And it killed me. Chrissy got out of the car and was like, oh, isn't this stunning? And then they like cut to a few shots. I'm like, this looks disgusting. It's like, it's not at all, Chrissy, but well done being a good player and pretending that you want to be here.
Then Chrissy's having an encounter with the koala and she goes, oh, koalas, they're cuddly and cute. But then, you know, they get their claws out, kind of like Terry was last night, you know, cuddly and nice. But then she goes...
Oh, she's coming for her Emmy in her confessionals,
She
dear
really
Chrissy.
is.
She's...
I thought there was some low-hanging fruit there with like a syphilis joke, but no one seemed to make one. So
I think if Oldfield was there, that probably would have come out, but she's RIP.
Absolutely, she would have been like, you fucking sons of bitches are like koalas.
She would have been scared of nothing. She knows the snake well, so she actually would have fit in quite well at the reptile park. So
she knows her way around a dead cat or two.
Shelley, why are you going up my vagina?
Oh, R.I.P. So then we get the snake pit scene, so this was very strange. Supposedly this is a conservation park, but they're like forcing this taipan to, you know, secrete venom. Produce venom. And I did like this bit where they were like, this is my favorite quote from Nicole, and I wrote this down verbatim because it was so funny. So you've milked him now?
I actually enjoyed Nicole this entire time. She was very up for like everything. Like she was in that full black outfit, looked like a spy, like a Russian spy or something. And she was just like, she literally put her hand up for everything that was going on. I also love that Caroline brought her own huge gloves to this as well, thinking that was like appropriate to work with the animals. Great.
Caroline's my MVP for this episode. There's a few reasons why, but one of them is that outfit, and two is that she just gets absolutely shit-faced later on, and I'm so here for it. Nicole says, so you've milked him now? And Victoria goes, can he go again? And then this poor man is just holding this like going, oh, fucking hell. And Caroline goes, oh, he's young.
He's young. Very good.
Very, very good. Then we get my favourite song of the day, which is Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
Shy. Yeah. Great.
What goes around comes back around. Multiply. Ooh, smooth.
That was good. I had that
one. You had that one.
written
Once
down
bitten,
as well. The
twice
once bitten,
shy.
twice. Yeah,
What goes
twice
around
shy.
that-
Yeah, very good.
Back at the house, they're trading stories about cleaning up turtle shit.
Before we get to the house, I feel like there was something missing link between the stories that were in the car where Terry was talking about her car crash and like when she was younger and her parents, like I failed to find the link between Kate's story about her father passing and Terry's experience. And I don't know if something was cut out or there was something there, but I went, oh, that feels like a real sharp change there.
I think it's like, you know how some people, their only way of having like empathy or like chipping in to a story like that is like they have to share a story about themselves, and the closest thing was, oh yeah,
Oh, the
deaf. Oh,
the Jessel Tank method.
yes, yes. They're like, oh, she's done that. She's like, oh yeah, dead family member. I can pile on.
Yeah.
It was awkward, but
She
yeah,
got Jessel tanked. Poor thing. Yeah.
I thought that story that Terry shared was quite sad, but also didn't flow well with the rest of the episode. They kind of just
No,
put that
it felt
in.
very out of place.
Yeah.
But at least we understand Terry's fear of cars
Being
and
cars.
driver's
Yes,
license. So
which
we're
makes sense,
here. We're here now. Yeah.
I don't have an excuse like that. I'm just gay.
A gay who can't drive.
Exactly. Then they split up. This is so it's like half the girls get the raspberry gin and half the girls get massages. Which would you have
would have preferred the
chosen?
gin.
Yeah, I mean, duh.
Gin. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And
I don't want women chanting over the top of me before a massage either. Like that really put me off that entire experience.
bordering on cultural appropriation, those chants, but I still enjoyed watching them. But Kate tells us she doesn't like randos touching her.
Unless it's during sex.
She did make that clarification.
And she's fine with it.
I haven't heard the word rando used. Like Kate is reviving a lot of regional lesbian expressions. Yeah. Rando.
I feel like I'm back in high school a bit. It's very I grew up southwestern Sydney, so that kind of speech is
Yes.
permanent.
Don't touch
there.
me,
So
you rando.
I've been taken back. Yeah,
Your povo rando.
it's nostalgic.
Very
It's very jamais.
It is very dramatic. Then the chanting happens. And fucking Sally, sorry, like I can't with her.
I forget she's in these.
Same. I forget.
Like, I'm sure she's lovely, but I'm not interested in anything happen. And I will say this all the time: there is a good way to be a lovely person on this show,
Like
and
chica.
you be a chica.
Yeah, exactly.
You splash your money around,
Yes.
and you organize events, and you become that person, and that's the way you can be out of the drama, but also be a cast member. And she balanced that perfectly. And I just think Sally needs to take a leaf out of the chica celebration book that's on shelves now.
She had a perfect opportunity to throw some shade at the chanting, which is like kind of like, let's be honest, like that's why they set these things up, so that the women like some of them get into it and they're like, I'm spiritual, and then there's always one that goes, oh, I roll, fuck this shit. And I feel like that was Sally's opportunity to have an opinion about something that's not like that serious. And even then she was like, oh, I mean, the chanting was a little bit weird, but it's just so lovely. Oh, it's fantastic. I was like, fuck off, Sally. You just say the chanting was annoying.
You don't like it, or I wasn't into it.
But
I did love Kate again. Just the bogan twang coming out. She was like, "Oh, it fucking helped."
Yeah, it
And I'm
fucking.
just like, okay.
She goes, "Oh, the energy massage. Yeah, it fucking helped. I mean, there were randos chanting, but fuck me, they were good." Then we get a little bitch sesh after the massage with the green juice, and they all start to talk about the drama, and then we get the cut between that and the group that I'd much rather be with, drinking the gin. And this is weird. So at this point, Victoria calls Terry an animal activist. She's like, "Oh, that like it's a conspiracy." And they're all growing.
working against
Yeah,
them.
exactly. They're growing in numbers. Do you think she's just like personally attacked, or do you genuinely think she thinks that like political correctness has gone too far?
There's two things going on here. I think both Kate and Terry are completely downplaying the way they spoke to Victoria in that car to Sally to make it seem like it wasn't a big thing, like they just asked her to remove it, and Victoria's making a big deal about it. I also think Victoria is absolutely over dramatizing what happened in the car as well, which I think is quite perfect. You're having two very different conversations each side. And I do think she does think it's a conspiracy, and it is political correctness gone wrong. And I think she has very strong opinions that she'd usually say for a confessional, and feels weird saying it in a setting. But she's had one sip of gin now, and she's like, "I'm going to tell everyone what I think about these women."
And my favorite bit is her rant where she just goes, "Well, soon, we just won't be able to wear anything, and we'll all be naked, and then we'll all be naked, and then that'll be too offensive because sex, that's a thing, and people are offended by that." And I was like, "Oh, honey."
I love it because you could also see Nicole trying not to piss herself as well. Like, my favorite thing is in the scenes when these women do their small rants, and I'm just waiting for Nicole to almost snap, like, because she always just thinks it gets so ridiculous, and she has like a little giggle to herself. That's when I know it's funny in the moment. So I always look for like Nicole to gauge during that.
Yes. Then she swiftly apologizes for changing the mood of the gin. She goes, "Oh, look, I've really changed the mood of the gin. I'm really sorry." And then they all agree that the barbecue is going to suck balls. Because there is
apparently because chickpea bloats you. The frittata had chickpeas in it, and she's bloating.
You can make delicious meals with no meat, but chickpea sausages sounds not good.
No, that's not the thing to go. Just make a lovely pasta. Like, there's so many lovely vegetarian pastas you can make that would feed all those women well. But I just don't think the grilled veggies and the barbie is the way to go.
Exactly. Then we get another song that goes, "Ooh, I want those clothes. They steal the night." Which I thought was very fitting.
What clothes were they referencing?
And we get the barbacoa. Victoria's very upset that the chickpeas and the frittata are bloating.
I did enjoy Chrissy saying, "Oh, you got the Mimo."
Oh, the Mimo.
Was lovely pronunciation from her.
That was great. Caroline says a great line that a gay has obviously written for her, which is it really a barbecue without meat? It's like going to a hooker for a hug.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one?
She had a few good lines. I enjoyed her, like, when she arrived late as well, and she said it's better to be late than ugly. And I was like, great.
Yeah, there's some good ones. The one about, models should all be, what was that? If I want to see mediocre, I'll go to Westfield or whatever. That one I don't need, but she's working on them, and they're like landing a bit better now.
Yeah, because I do like her approach. She's just very like, she's light, she's learning things from the women, and she's like inserting herself where she needs to, and she knows when to like kind of step back. And you can also tell like someone like Chrissy is obviously like warming to her massively because, she has a good opinion, and she gives she doesn't have a good opinion. She has a strong opinion when she wants to give it. And then, Chrissy's appreciating that and like warming to her.
Yeah.
So, and then I loved when Chrissy was going, "Oh, I'm really enjoying you." And Caroline's like, "I'm a highlight."
Yes. Then the Corella Deville of it all returns, and Victoria needs to speak her truth, but there's a caveat. She will not be interrupted by anyone.
Always love starting with that.
Great way to start a dialogue. I'm going to speak. No one else is going to speak at all. I'm a 40-year-old woman, and I will not be told how to dress.
That was my favorite line. Like, as in, I'm a 40-year-old woman. Like, you cannot speak to me about changing what I'm wearing. It's like it's an absolute process. Like, once you're 40 and you've chosen an outfit, you can't change gears that quickly.
I think she had to dispel the rumors that I've been putting out there that she is in fact 3 years old. So I think that's why she's just subtly dropping in her age now. She's like, I'm not a toddler. How many laxatives do you think she's taken at this point as well?
Sam, I was asking you this question last week. I'm waiting for Kate to come back on my podcast to ask her if this is a common thing where women are just taking a bunch of laxatives to shit themselves on girls' trips. Like, I just need to know if that's a reality.
She's complaining about the bloating of the chickpeas, and I'm like, could also be those laxatives, babe. But yeah. And then Kate gets regional lesbian again, and she goes, "All right, we're gonna have a crack. We're having a crack out." And they
crack some knuckles before she starts.
Which I kind of felt like we're rehashing last night's argument. So I was a little bit like snooze.
Yeah.
But this time we discover that Kate is in fact wearing a goose down jacket.
And claims that it's like ethically sourced goose down. I'm like, sorry?
I don't
like,
know if
what are we doing here?
the sides of the freeways, are they just being scraped for all kinds of feathers? And I actually love Victoria, as like insane as she is. She's very good at debating this topic, probably because she's used to doing it all the time. But the bit about the fillers, I was like, oh, you've got them there, because they've all got, Botox fillers.
I did not know that. I learned. I come to Real Housewives of Sydney to learn, and that was a great lesson for me.
Exactly. It's an educational program.
I also enjoyed Nicole during all of this as well, like as in her saying, maybe you should have sent everyone a text asking if you're wearing a fur.
There's always
like
one,
that logic.
She's a bit mumsy. This is when she gets mumsy, and there's always one person in the friendship group that's like, all right, everyone, so what we're going to do, it's going to resolve everything. We'll have a group chat, and we'll just all send each other texts, and then all of our problems will be solved. And it's like, oh, okay. One of those. And then Victoria smoke bombs with the ultimate get out of jail free card, which is my dad's in hospital, which the editors, I think, did her dirty here, because if you listen to her on the official podcast this week, she says that actually had just happened that morning. So it's not like, because I thought watching it before I'd heard that, I was like, oh, he's, maybe he's been in hospital for a few weeks or something, or I don't know. Yeah. And she's just deciding to bring it up now. But he actually was rushed to hospital that morning. So if they gave her an opportunity to explain that in the confessional, she wouldn't be a fun villain anymore, but it would probably make a little bit more sense.
Also as well, like she had the perfect out in the morning when if she had found out about it and, Kate was coming for her in the car about the fur stuff, she'll be like, I have to go anyway. And that could have been a very easy out for her, but it seemed like so delayed to kind of go, oh, okay, I've got to head home now. Like, Nicole, can you take me? And I'm just like,
yeah, she may have been convinced to stay for a bit longer because they knew that something was brewing. Who knows? But I'm glad she stayed and gave us.
Well, I'm glad I was going to say, I'm glad she did as well. Just quickly before they leave, though, I feel like there was a callback from Nicole when she was like questioning Kate about her ethical goose down. Mm-hmm. She goes, what makes it ethical? And it just took me straight back to the girls' trip where Nicole was questioning Athena's ivory bracelet. And she was just like, is it for food or like animal rights or like ethical reasons? She goes, more ethical. And she goes, then how come you're wearing an ivory bracelet? Like, it's like she's always like got a little thing to pick on people, and she was like ready to go at Kate as well. So
it wasn't done in quite a masterful way, but they've still got the training wheels on, these women. So I'm giving them a lot of free passes.
With Chrissy clapping as well. Can we talk about that? Like just starting the clap halfway through.
Actually, my favorite bit from this whole argument was when Kate starts to get quite upset about the whole thing, and Victoria does the most passive aggressive thing ever. She's like, "Are you okay?" She's like,
keep yelling.
Oh, you're yelling. Oh, are you okay? Like, I'm so concerned. That was like, oh, fantastic. And Terry, meanwhile, is trying to mediate the whole thing still, and I'm like, this is not your battle. Don't get involved.
It feels like she's like hitching herself to the wrong wagon or something like that. It's just very like, just let Kate can obviously, hold her own. So you don't really need to jump in for her there.
And then she brings up Switzerland again, which pisses Chrissy off. She goes, "Oh, all right, sister. Well, I know where you're coming from." And we get a lot of these awkward cuts to confessionals commentating on this argument, and everyone seems to be pissed off about something completely different surrounding the central Victoria v. Kate Animal Rights Summit 2023. Then we get my favorite quote. It's where Victoria says, "Honey, I'm a tight ass. I don't have a warehouse in Alexandria."
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't have the space.
And if she's listening, please put that on a t-shirt. I think that's your, like, I know it's a bit of a long quote, but I feel like you could really work with that as some merch.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Caroline is highly flammable.
Yeah. All the PVC.
Quite flammable at all times, but it's mentioned at some point.
Yeah.
And Kate throws it out Yeah.
She's also like soaking in gin at the moment as well. So
Yes, they all really are. Kate throws it out to the group. She kind of wants to know who's on her side just by being like, we know who's okay with her. She asks Chrissy, are you okay with her then? And Chrissy says, well, I'm pro-choice. Would I skin a cat and throw it over my shoulder tomorrow? Maybe not, but I'm not ruling it out. She kind of gives the strangest answer to this. I don't know. How are you feeling at this point? At this point, I was just ready for the ethics of animal products to wrap up.
Oh, I was happy I'm happy Victoria left because I was like, well, at least this conversation is going to end because like obviously she was the main catalyst for it. And it was interesting. Like it was for someone like Chrissy's seemingly had a backseat during this episode for once, which is crazy. So I was happy to see.
And it's good.
This conversation happen and then it obviously settled down. Maybe actually no, I was going to say it's going to settle down. It doesn't look like it does at all.
I have been saying that Chrissy's been carrying the season, so I was very happy for Victoria to give Chrissy a little break this week, bring some drama. I mean, Kate obviously is just involved in the drama as well at all times, but I think that's just because she's just a different character, and these women and her it's a bit of an oil and water situation. Victoria tells us just before she leaves on her parting words to the confessional are, this trip has highlighted to me how not to bully your guests. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Kate's the worst host I've ever come across.
I've learned a lot about how to be not a shit host. So, yeah. Passive-aggressive queen. Then we get the next morning.
Women in full face already. And anytime like cameras are up, it's a full face. Love.
Chrissy goes, oh, Caroline, you're just the most eloquent, intelligent person I know. Like, oh, it's just, you're not, it's what you see, it's what you get.
She's saying she didn't think much of it before she started speaking
saying,
to her.
I thought you were an absolute slut before. And now that I've got to know you,
back when I was calling you a porn star. Yeah.
But now I've got to know you, actually realise that you're okay and that you're fun. And because Chrissy's a fun time girl, like let's be honest. So I think they found each other.
Well, they're going to go for a cocktail in Double Bay
or
now,
a coffee, as
they
said. Cocktails and coffee in Double Bay. So be on the lookout.
Sight to see.
Then we get a scene with Sally and Kate in their robes, also full face. And this is when Kate gets a bit totes emotion. She
feels beaten up.
And look, rightfully so. I think they did go in hard. But she's a fighter. She knows how to fight. And she feels personally attacked by the drama. It's, it's not what I do, it's who I am. This is my...
She's talking like she's in Braveheart. Like I don't like. There's not much going on. You know what I mean? But like, I love her commitment to the bit where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna fight this as if it's like a full-on battle.
All she really did was take them to the Aldi Irwins to see Ranger Haley. Squeeze.
She didn't do a thing. Kate didn't do a thing at that entire park.
No. Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. She didn't. She just made them do it.
She didn't even throw, like, even Victoria screamed and threw a cricket into the frogs, but not even Kate was doing that. So I don't know.
Is her storyline, oh, I'm doing this every weekend, so it's your turn? Are we led to believe that? I guess she does it professionally, for work, with the anal glands. Anal gland Monday.
She's having a day off. Yeah.
This PT session scene was so...
Oh, I didn't write any notes about the PT session because there was nothing to report on.
I liked all the outfits for the PT scene. Sally's outfit, however, unforgivable. What the fuck was that? Caroline looked great, and I love that the PT asks Caroline, "Oh, do you need a drink or something?" And she's like, "Oh, drink. Oh, what? Well, what have you got?" And he's like, "Water." And she was like, "Oh, I've got a..."
She's me on a holiday.
She's like, "I've got another bottle of that gin just lying around. We could crack it open." And then she says, "Who works out in the morning?" I'm like,
you don't do that. Not on a group holiday. Like it's too intense.
And she also,
Those people that run up and go running on the beach. No.
And she says, who works out in the morning and I don't do cardio? Both of those statements, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't agree. I think you look like you definitely do some cardio, honey. And then we get the conclusion of the girls' trip. They have a final cheers. And Dr. Kate feels a little bit embarrassed, I think, that she's, bestowed them all some drama, and she feels like she's failed a little bit.
Yes, but I think she's like acting it down a little bit, which is just like, yeah, like she's a bit like solemn about the whole thing. But when we see the preview for next week, she's obviously taken a huge grudge from this weekend. It's like, I'm going to double down and be like, I now hate Victoria.
Absolutely.
I'm not attending
and
her
I
event.
cannot wait, because if they actually did just move on from it all from this, it would be pretty much the end of the season. So I'm glad it's going to continue. But you're right. She does strike me as someone that would hold a grudge for some time.
Yeah, she's one of those people that once she sleeps on it, it's actually 10 times worse the next morning and doesn't actually get better. So, and here we are.
But what are your hopes and dreams for the rest of the season?
I'm hoping that the Victoria Kate situation gets worse, which it looks like it does next episode. I do want to see a bit more Kate v Chrissy, but I want to see Kate more activated in the moment with Chrissy, because I feel like there's been a few moments at the dinner table where she kind of just like sits there a bit and doesn't get too, like, she will start talking about something, then Chrissy loves to like talk and bury herself. I want to see a bit more back and forth between the two of them, which it looks like there's a touch of it next episode when Chris is going,
yes,
who are you?
Oh yeah,
like,
that looks
which
good.
is phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm very sad that Victoria's not going to make it to Tokyo, because I feel like she's becoming a main player in this. So the fact that she's going to be removed from another group trip isn't great. But then hopefully that means interesting dynamics in that situation as well. I want to see a bit more Caroline v someone as well. Like, I know they all like her, but I'd like to see her kind of, I don't know, maybe butt heads with someone a bit more rather than just like, and activated Terry.
I want
Viviano
Terry
is what
to
I want to see on
stop
my
trying to be the
screen every week.
mediator. I want her to put the boxing gloves on and hop in the ring, because I really like her. I think she's like really funny, and I think she's got a lot of like, fight in her, but she's just kind of hanging back a bit. Yeah.
We'll keep poking Chrissy, because I want to see the bitch.
Someone's going to poke, whether it's Chrissy or whoever else. Oh, and that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for saving the day, Mr. Morrison.
No worries. I'm glad I could make it here for you.
Where can people find you?
If you want to follow me on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Gasbagging. Listen to the podcast if you're into that. You can hear another gay talk about Real Housewives of Sydney if you didn't get enough from this. And outside of that, if you want to follow me, I'm at Dan Morrison on Twitter and Instagram.
Gorgeous. Till next time.
Farewell.
Thanks again to Dan for coming in last minute. I'll be back next week with more Housewives of Sydney. See you then.